ready to branch out, to take a leap of faith, to love yourself and others fully? Then let go of whatever no longer serves you to take action now on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Erica will energize and excite you to power up your passionate dream that sets your soul on fire. With Erica's E3 approach, equipping, empowering, and enlightening yourself so you can be yourself for yourself. Get ready and get rooted to live a life without regrets, without what ifs, without should haves, and especially without empty feelings from a life unexplored. This hit show helps you build powerful and intentional roots to live it up, love it up, and let it go. Get fearlessly ready and powerfully rooted in your yes with your host, Erica Gifford Mills, and be fearless about your more and stand in your yes. Now on Get Rooted Radio.
Welcome, everyone. I am Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio, living it up, loving it up, letting it go, right here on Transformation Talk Radio. A big shout out to my producer today, Sierra. How are you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I am wonderful, thank you. I can't believe it's almost the end of August. This year is just flying past. But today, I really am excited about this episode because it is something that we just don't talk about enough. Today's episode is titled Life, Think Again, and it's a special episode with my guest, Johanna Vendel, because struggling with grief can make it difficult to move forward. Memories are all we have left after losing that special person in our lives. So it's important to create as many memories as possible. Everyone grieves differently, and there's no right way or wrong way. But by sharing our stories, we can slowly mend our broken hearts. And that is what we are going to discuss today. But a bit about my guest. Johanna is an award-winning author, podcast host, and grief advocate whose powerful storytelling bridges the gap between personal tragedy and universal healing. Through her books and podcasts, Johanna offers encouragement, strength, and hope to those navigating the deep valleys of loss. After enduring the unimaginable pain of losing 6 family members, Johanna turned her grief into purpose. Writing became both her refuge and her gift to others. Her work explores the realities of heartbreak while extending a hand of faith, resilience, and inspiration to those who feel alone in their struggles. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Hi, Erica. Thank you so much for having me.
This topic is, I hate to say near and dear to my heart, but it truly is. Grief is a heavy topic, and as I said in the opening, one we don't talk about enough. And it is a very natural response to death or loss, right? And the grieving process is an opportunity to appropriately mourn a loss and then heal from it. And I think that is one of the things that I really want to talk about today is the process is helping when you acknowledge the grief, find support, and allow that time for the grief work to heal. But during this first segment, I want to talk about one of those things that comes along with grief. It's loneliness. I know when my son passed, and still 11 months later, I keep myself busy because those moments of quiet are so loud. It's truly deafening. But what happens when you come home, like after a funeral, after that part is done, what happens?
Yes, well, that is definitely one of the things that I speak about quite a lot, and very often, because people they don't understand when you lose someone. And I'm not saying that everybody doesn't know how it is to lose someone, because there are many people who has not ever lost anyone in their lives yet. And for those kind of people, it is very difficult, I think, personally, to come and give you like a speech or a hug or this or that and tell you how you should feel, and because they don't know what you went through, and after the funeral, you don't hear from a lot of people and you think, what? I've lost all my friends and they are not interested in how I feel. So that is a very difficult part for me. I've lost tremendous. Um, I lost a lot of friends in my life already, and I'm telling you, it is because of all my grief that I have definitely lost them.
Yeah, and I think there's many, we're talking about grief from loss, but there from a death, right? But there are many causes of grief. People can feel loss when they lose a close family member or a friend, or they maybe are separated from a loved one, whether that's divorce, literal space, they lose a job or a position or income, or a pet dies or anything like that. And one of the things that I've experienced, um, I've lost both my parents, but losing my son, I really went through the stages of grief, right? The denial, the numbness and shock, the bargaining, the depression, the anger, the acceptance. Not really to the acceptance quite yet. I know it's there, of course, but it's going to take me a while to get to that stage. But when we go through those stages, is there anything that helps folks, right? Because that loneliness, I know after I keep myself very busy, but when you have that downtime, to me, that's where that denial and the numbness and shock, which of course is a normal reaction to a death or a loss. It should never be confused with not caring, but it's hard because we don't know what to do in those quiet times, and that loneliness then sets in. And because
Yes,
I had it when after my son's celebration of life, everybody was left because we had company and everything. Everybody left, and then I was like just there. And but when I say it was the it was the silence was deafening. It was just so loud. And
yes,
and even though I've gone through tremendous loss myself, I still don't know what to say to people when they've lost. Because I'm sorry seems so trivial, but because we don't know what somebody else goes through, it's hard to have those right words without sounding superficial. Is there anything that you could recommend to folks on what to say, or maybe not say anything, but just being there?
yes. Personally, I would just say, if you can just be there for the person who has lost that person in their lives, that will already help. And sometimes you don't know what to say. But if you can just be there, sit around, make a cup of coffee for the person that you are there for, or bring her a bunch of flowers, or and I don't really say that people must bring flowers or anything. If you just come and go to her kitchen, maybe help her to do her dishes because I'm sure she would have like just gone and sit a lot, and don't do a few things that she normally does. And that is what I did. There was a stage where I just did not even feel like cleaning my house or cleaning my kitchen or just washing what I need, laundry. And because what do? We lie in our beds and you feel like you don't really want to get up in the day. And after losing one person, you go through those feelings for the very first time in your life. And after losing a second person, it's like you know how you felt previously when you've lost someone, but losing that second person, it is about the relationship you had with that person as well, because the losses are completely different. When you lose a brother or a sister or a mother or a father, like I did, I lost them all. And it is, you miss every single personality aspect of them. And then you just need a friend. You just need that friend to come and be there for you. Just start to talk about anything because at least it will get the person who has lost that people her mind off of what she's been thinking by herself the whole time, and you don't always have to speak about the people who died. Start to speak about something else or just something, it's just about being there for that person. That's what I say. Just
Yeah,
be there for them.
absolutely. And it's being present. And I think that's the biggest thing. Well, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about remaining sane. But before we go, Johanna, tell folks how they can connect with you, learn about your books, learn about your podcast.
Yes, so I have three published books already, and the very first one is my book, Life Think Again, which is basically the story of how I have lost my entire family, my mom, dad, three sisters, and my brother. Then I have written a second book right there, and it's called Navigating Through Losses and Grief. Now, this book has taught me in a way to get through my losses and my grief. And it's like the coping strategies and things like that. So if you have lost someone, you would definitely want to read the Navigating Through Losses and Grief book. Then I have written a third book, which is my Unseen Tears Beneath the Mask. And that is more a book of wearing that mask and covering up your inner feelings, not showing it to the world. And after everything that I have been through, writing my first and second book, I have yielded so much that I have realized that it's time to remove this mask. And I wrote this book. It is an amazing book. So if you have ever felt that you're wearing a mask and you need to remove that mask, then this is the book to read. And then I recently started a grief podcast, but not just a grief podcast. It's more like an inspirational podcast where people come tell their stories, and it's a safe space because we all go through difficult things in our lives and we all need to talk about it. Because if you do not talk about it, you cannot heal. You have to speak about it. You have to just get that feelings and emotions out of your system. And this is then a safe space to come speak to me, get the word out there. And if you have a story, please feel free to reach out. Erica's got all my details and she will put it in the description after this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You are listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any portion of today's episode, you can catch it on getrootedradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe online to receive the latest news, events, specials, and words of encouragement. Go to getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Johanna Vendel. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Erica.
So during our first segment, listeners learned about loneliness and what friends, family, loved ones can do to support those persons in grief with loneliness, about just, being there, showing up. But during this segment, we're going to talk about trying to stay sane. So I know there were times where I felt like I was going crazy because, the stages of grief are never linear, right? You go through one and then you might go back through another one. It's not the straight line. It's more like this, right? You're all over the place. And I know personally, I felt that I couldn't go on after my son left. He was and is my life. Everything I did was for him, to make him proud, to really watch him grow. And that sort of made me felt like I was going crazy. But I'm curious, have you ever felt like that? And do you think this is a common feeling for folks on when they lose somebody that's so close to them?
You see, it all starts with the loneliness part, because when you're lonely, you feel like no one cares.
Yeah.
And then it feels like you become crazy because what must you do? Because no one comes to you, no one cares about you. You feel alone because now you've lost the people that you've loved so dearly. And there was a time where I was very, very close to taking my own life. I was basically driving in my car and thinking of where can I just turn the steering wheel to take me off the road and maybe drive into a breach or just do something like that. And every day when I felt like that driving home, I thought to myself, no, what about your children? So my children was definitely part of the inner um, strength that I have, that God gave me someone to live for and someone who is relying on me. And what will happen to my children if I am not there? So a lot of those thoughts gone through my head. And even though you eventually then say, no, I'm not going to take my own life. And I'm going to start to just try to be strong and just be there for my children. And maybe life will change. But eventually I realized that if if no one's going to be there for me, who's going to be there for me?
Yeah.
God will be there for me.
Yeah, we're definitely going to
And
get that into the next segment. But I think, I mean, would you say, and tell me if you disagree, but I feel like the truth is you don't really stay sane after a loss in the way people imagine, because loss shapes each one of us. And I mean, it shapes people differently. And I feel like the goal isn't to get back to a normal, but to find a new rhythm that you can live with. And I know, because I
yes,
know I also try to reframe the meaning of sanity, because I felt like it's not about being perfectly composed, but it's about surviving the next breath, right? The next hour, the next day. And over time, you learn how to carry that loss differently. Because I know it's not
yes,
ever going to go away. It's not going to
yes,
disappear. But because as we grow, we grow stronger around it. And just like what I found is, and what I said about you in the opener is, you're turning pain into purpose and wounds into wisdom. And I think that helps me stay sane on what can I do to help somebody else out. And that kind of reshaped and reframed my definition of sanity, because by no means am I
yes.
saying,
I always have a saying that you cannot get over grief, but eventually you learn to live with it.
yeah,
And if you take just those words, try to learn to live with it, because it's never not going to be a part of your life. It's always going to be a part of your life. So the most important thing is to learn to live with it. And by doing that and by accepting that you need to learn to live with it, that is when you actually start to feel, wow, I have changed a lot, because personally, I have changed a lot. If grief changed me, my thinking is different about life. Everything is different about life. And just knowing that I cannot change the past, so I need to learn to live with it, that has changed my life tremendously.
no, and it's what started me getting through was understanding that grief is just love with no place to go. And it wouldn't hurt this much if we didn't love this much. And so to me, yes, the grief is can be numbing and heartbreaking, but I wouldn't change it, because I got to love that person and I got to know them. And that helped me kind of reshape those stages of grief, because you You might be angry 1 minute, crying, laughing, a combination of all three. And when we realize that you can have all three and you're not going crazy. Yes, I know I was laughing and remembering something, and then I was crying, and then I was angry, all in a matter of minutes. That's just part of it. That's part of the process. And, for a while there, I
Yes.
was like, am I going crazy? Because how did I go from laughing about remembering something to crying to being angry in 5 minutes? But you're not staying sane. You're feeling the feels. It's just don't unpack and stay in one of those feelings. Allow
Yes.
yourself to talk about it, allow yourself to feel it, and keep moving through it.
What I will also say is, if you feel like that, the best thing is in those days, I still had photo albums where I would say, take your photo album and look at the people that you miss. Sometimes now, after I've taken a lot of pictures of the photo album and put it on my phone, now I can zoom into their faces, and sometimes I just look into their eyes and try to find their souls because it's inside the eye where the soul lives, and I zoom into their eyes a lot to just try to see if I can't find them. But it is difficult, and I've learned now over the years also birthdays and death days are the worst days for me. Last week I just had my mom's birthday, and the day before my mom's birthday I had my twin sister's death day. And, weeks like that, it's just getting through that week. And then it feels like, okay, I always say the sun will shine again tomorrow. I'm always positive. I always try to stay positive. And I'm never going to let anybody or anything try to make me negative because I've been through too much in my life to be negative. I only want to be positive and I only want to spread hope out there. And that is why my podcast that I have, Give Me Hope with Johanna, I just want people to be themselves and just spread the hope and spread the love, and let people know that someone is there for you. And that is what I want to be. I want to be there for people who has lost loved ones. And yeah, it's definitely not nice to lose that people, but who says you're not going to live a long life? So you need to learn to live with it.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about putting your faith in God or that higher power, whatever you believe in. But before we go, tell folks how they can connect with you and learn more about your podcast.
So my podcast is on YouTube under Give Me Hope with Johanna, or you can go under my name, Johanna Vendel with a J and with a V, Vendel. And you'll find that on YouTube. Then you can also find me on Facebook. I am quite a lot on Facebook because that is where I put all my promotions out and all my talk shows, who I'm going to speak to in the next week, for instance. And there you will find me on Johanna Maria Vendel. And if it doesn't have a little blue tick next to my name, then it's not me, because there's so many people out there that is frauds. So yeah, Johanna Maria Vendel on Facebook. Then I also have Instagram at Johanna Vendel, and then I have LinkedIn, also Johanna Vendel. So it's only on Facebook where I use my second name, Maria. And on Instagram, it's also Johanna Maria Vendel.
Thank you so much, Johanna. I'm Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Don't forget to visit getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay of this episode, sign up for helpful tips, and learn about upcoming events. That's getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Johanna Vendel. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
And I am enjoying speaking to you. Thank you, Erica.
So this episode is about a topic that is often not spoken about or seen as maybe taboo, and that is that of grief. And during the last few segments, we've talked loneliness and trying to remain sane. And during this segment, we're going to talk about putting our faith in God or whatever higher spirit, universe, power you believe in. So if I tell you, after my son died, I was angry at God. I was furious. I was going through breast cancer and I thought, you had a chance to take me over the last 18 months. And instead, it's my son that's gone. And it was so hard to not be angry. And how do you remain positive after that loss? What would you tell your listeners that, how do you not be angry? How do you put that faith in that higher power?
Well, faith is something that shouldn't be difficult. You either believe or you don't. And I am a Christian, and I do believe that if you tell God to come live in your heart, He will come. He will come. You must just say to Him, please come live in my heart, because I cannot do this all by myself. And personally, I always thought that I had God in my life. But then I lost my dad. And then I lost my twin sister. And then after all my grief from them, I lost my husband through divorce. And I was alone. I was heartbroken. And like I said previously, I wanted to take my own life. But then I needed to do something different. And I thought, well, where are you, God? I'm a good person. Why have you taken these people away from me? Because this was my sanctuary. This was where I felt at home, with my family and with my husband. And now He's taken that all away from me. And by the end of the day, I went to church by myself, and there someone said that if you don't give your personal yes to God, then He cannot come and live in your heart if you don't invite Him in. So I said, well, I needed to give my heart to Jesus by myself. I choose to give my heart to Jesus. And that day, I promise you, I was baptized the next day, and it's a long story about my baptism and everything and how I gave my heart to Jesus that you can read in my book, Life Think Again. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. But after that day, I cannot tell you, I normally was singing with my dad. And after my dad died, I did not sing. After my twin sister died, I could not sing at all, because if I wanted to reach a note, I could not reach that note, because then I hear my dad's voice in my back of my ear, and then my voice break and I can't sing. So for a long time, I did not sing. And just recently, actually, I have not even told many people this, but just recently I published 5 songs on on Spotify and YouTube Music and all of that. But I started to write songs. That's what I started to do after God came into my life, because all of a sudden, he made me keep my note again, and that, oh, it was just so amazing to start to
Yeah.
sing again. And I just started to write songs and started to sing again. And with God in my life, I cannot tell you how much stronger I was when I lost my mom. And then 4 years later, I lost my big sister. 4 years later, so that was 2012, 2016, 2020, I lost my little sister and my brother that same year. And if it is not that I had God in my life, for me to go to church and um, also be involved in the church, maybe just, I mean, me, I like to go and make coffee in the morning at church. And when everybody gets to church, there's coffee for them waiting. So I like to do things like that and just be involved because
Yeah.
that's how I feel like now I am at home because
Yeah.
I don't have a home to go to except my home that I have now created for my children to come to. But where must I go? So I'm just a child of God now and I go to church and I'm happy about it and write my stories, get it out of me, because I said also when you write your story, eventually you can actually physically take that book and you can close it. You can put it down and you can move on with that chapter in your life. And since February, when I went to my very, very first prize giving where I won my award, um, I have just grown so much. It is unbelievable how much stronger I have become just by writing down my story and winning an award where you feel, wow, I am worth something because I always thought that I am not worth it. I always try to be nice to everybody and try to be honest and I try to be humble and kind. But by the end of the day, it is all about what you do in your life. So you have to mentally try to stay strong and
Yeah.
you have to mentally also try to just be be there for yourself every day.
Yeah.
Try something different. And wow, I started to fall in love with writing, and I'm busy now with my fourth book, which will be a fiction. All my other three books are nonfiction, and now I'm going to start to write fiction where I am going to write stories about my loved ones who died and change it a little bit, give it a little twist because you never know what happened when someone died. You don't know what went on in their heads. So my imagination is definitely running wild and I am now writing even more than ever.
So I want to say for our listeners, so what I'm kind of hearing you say kind of all around is give yourself permission to doubt because doubt doesn't mean you lack faith. It means you're engaging honestly with it. And also I'm
Yes,
hearing start small with when I say God, please insert universe, higher power, whatever listeners, whatever you believe in, but start small with God, making sure that
yes,
you it doesn't have to be that like that grand belief right away. And then I'd say look for kind of God in the cracks, right? In small things. And it could be in an unexpected hug, a song at the right time, or a sunrise that just slowly rebuilds that trust. I'd
yes,
also
see,
say trust that God can handle your anger because that's what I felt first is that anger. And it's okay to be angry at him, yell, cry, ask the hard questions because he's not fragile. And I think that helped me as well. And then I also did redefined my faith after loss because, you know, for me, faith didn't mean everything happens for a reason because quite frankly that hurt more than it helped, but it was God is
I
still
agree.
present even in the darkness, or my loved one isn't lost, they're held. Life itself is eternal because God's love is eternal. And I think if you can't pray, let someone else pray for you. When you can't believe, or where you maybe have those stumbling points, that community can be your lifeline when faith feels too heavy to be able to carry it alone.
Definitely, just
Yeah.
like that. Yes,
So let's take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to finish out the show with tips on how to treasure the people in your life. This is Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any of the information during the last segments, go to getrootedradio.com to listen to the replay. Don't forget to subscribe, sign up for tips and special events and pricing for upcoming coaching sessions at getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Johanna Vendel. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Erica, for having me.
Tell folks how they can connect with you to learn more about your podcast, your books, and all the great things that you are doing surrounding grief.
Well, my podcast name is Give Me Hope with Johanna at gmail.com is my email address then. So if you just email me, you can basically get onto my podcast, come tell your story. And if you go on YouTube, you can find any of the episodes. I have recorded 20 episodes already. I am brand new on YouTube. So if people say, she only has 60 subscribers, it's because I'm still new, So please go to Give Me Hope with Johanna and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Because if you listen to just one story, you're going to definitely know what Give Me Hope with Johanna is all about. It's all about just inspiration, inspiring people, I think, is the best thing I can do, because that's all I can give to people is some inspiration. Because I always say, if one person can do it, maybe I can do it. And that's how I live my life. I just live it day by day, because tomorrow is not promised. And yesterday we can definitely not get back. So I really just try to be inspirational to anybody out there, and just be myself. And I just want to love my life and live it to the fullest today, because today is what we have.
Absolutely. That's why we're saying living it up, loving it up, and letting it go, right? So during the last few segments, our listeners heard about loneliness, about staying sane, and putting your faith in that higher power during your grief process. During this last segment, we're going to talk about techniques to treasure the people in our life. So what advice would you provide to someone who is struggling? And in what ways can they honor and remember their loved ones?
Well, like I said earlier, what I also like to do is scrapbooking. I took a few pictures and I made a little scrapbook, and that definitely helps you to kind of remembering your loved ones. Then what you can also do is just do some daily, just a daily note of how your day is going today. Because some days we are not doing so well. And those are the days that you maybe need to just take your diary out and just write down all your thoughts. I say sometimes, write even the worst things that you're thinking, write it down on paper. Because as soon as you have written it down on paper and you cry while you do it, you put that book down and you go and do something else. Tomorrow or the day thereafter, you feel like, oh, I need to write something down again. Do you know what you normally do before you start to write something down? You read yesterday's thoughts. And that's what I did, is I read what I wrote before, because I don't want to write exactly the same as what I'm feeling now, because I'm kind of feeling the same as yesterday. But that's not true, because you have moved on a little bit after you have written down what you've written down earlier. So when you read that, you're like, oh, did I really feel like that yesterday? Oh, no, today I'm feeling like this and this. Eventually, you can just go on, or there are a lot of people who like to run or ride a bike or go walk your dog and go sit in a park. Sometimes to look at other people and what other people do. I'm a very um one-sided, drawn back person, and I will very easily go sit in a mall or at a coffee shop and just all by myself drinking my coffee, looking at people. And if you look at some people, you will see that there are a lot of broken people out there. And sometimes I will sit and I'll see someone sitting at their table, maybe wiping a tear or doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, that person is going through exactly the same as what I am going through. And one day I got up, and when I saw that person crying, um, I walked over to her, and I said, "Hi, I'm so sorry to intrude, but I see that you are crying. I am not here to ask you what you are crying about, but can I please give you a hug?" She then started to cry so much, and I just hugged her. I just held her tight. And yeah, so you must do what you need to do sometimes, to make yourself feel better, because I think that day, even I needed a hug.
Yeah.
So
It's, I
yeah,
mean, it's like carrying the loved one's memory. It's not holding on to that pain, but weaving them into the fabric of our everyday life. That way we can honor them and show how deeply they shaped us. And like you said, it's either through that creative expression, like scrapbooking, photo album, or a memory book, through rituals, right? Maybe you're lighting a candle, you visit their favorite place, maybe that you shared, keeping traditions
yes,
alive through the
yes,
storytelling, through living their legacy. And, one of the things I've been doing is doing sort of daily reminders, having either wearing something that belonged to my son or a symbol that represents them, like my necklace here, or having a phrase that he always used as a grounding mantra. And then, of course, I
yes,
always look for those small signs in the day that make me think of him, that knowing that he is still here with me. Because I
yes.
think the truth is, you don't leave them behind. We carry them forward in everything we do. And I know we're out of time. So, Johanna, I really want to thank you for being on the show today. And I want to encourage everybody. All her contact information, her social media sites, her website are out there on the dashboard. So please go and look her up. Look up the podcast, get her books. She is wonderful. And I look forward to seeing you in October, Johanna.
I am looking forward to seeing you as well, Erica. And Um, just the last word, the Navigating Through Losses and Grief book. That book really gives you a lot of ideas of how to overcome grief and what to do, because sometimes we don't always know what can we do.
Yes.
But yes,
So thank
please
you.
go and
Thank
reach
you.
out.
And I want to thank you all for tuning in to Get Rooted Radio. If you missed any part of today's episode or want to listen again, go to getrootedradio.com for the podcast. And don't forget to tune in the first and third Monday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific right here on Transformation Talk Radio. And one last personal message. If you are hurting or need help, please know the world needs you and it is a better place with you in it. Don't let the hard days win. Reach out for assistance. Call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to reach a trained crisis counselor through the crisis text line. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing day. Know that you are loved, and I'm looking forward to the next time on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Visit GetRootedRadio.com if you've missed any part of this hit show, and tune in on TransformationTalkRadio.com to live fearlessly in your more and powerfully rooted in your unlimited yes. For more information and to work with Erica directly, visit GetRootedRadio.com. That's GetRootedRadio.com, and get ready to live it up, love it up, and let it go.